is 100% infallible if you can name for me three people who were present at the Council of Nicaea. And it's possible to know who was present, but what's not possible is to know how many people were there. It's not possible to know who they were. Nobody knows. We know there was this congregation that came together. Um, Constantine the Great ordered it. This was around the time of the formation of the Catholic Church. But we don't even know who these people are. Think about that. The Bible that we've got, the Bible that some people fight and kill over and argue and scratch over, we don't even know who wrote it. We don't even know who decided to put it together like we've got it right now. We don't even know who the editors and scribes that King James used years later to bring it into the modern era and make it where we can read it. We don't even know who these people were. So you're like, I've got this literal truth that I'm willing to go and persecute and torture and maim and kill, or just kind of be a little bit intolerant, kind of jerky about sometimes. And I don't even know where it came from. I've been told it came from God, so I'm just kind of like, it came from God, good times. But the thing is, it's kind of gone through some stages. It's gone through some editing. And I can tell you with relative certainty that if Jesus and the 12 apostles were to walk into your average church right now, they really wouldn't have any idea what these people were talking about in there. And if you don't believe me, sit down with the Bible, see for yourself. Separate out things like what Paul wrote from what Jesus wrote. Well, Jesus didn't write anything, actually. Separate out what Paul wrote from what the disciples wrote. And even then, the disciples didn't write it either. Did you know that after Jesus was crucified, the disciples kind of scattered to the wind and formed their own communities? And these oral traditions sort of floated around where they just told what happened. And the earliest gospel was Mark, and Mark was written 50 years after Jesus Christ was crucified. So think about that. This is saying that World War II happened. World War II happened a little more than 50 years ago. It's like 60 years, but go with me. We'll say the Korean War. That Grandpa came back from the Korean War. All of the soldiers came back from the Korean War, and they've been telling their stories all of this time. And just now, we decided to go ahead and start writing down some of the things that they were saying from when they came back from the Korean War. And then different people were writing it down also. Soldiers from other countries started writing it down. Koreans started writing it down. And don't you think their perceptions of it would be a little bit different? This is what happened with the Bible. And it's right there in it. When you look at it, you're all like, oh, it's the Gospel of Mark. And some of them will tell you when it was written and where. They were written for different reasons. If you read it in the original Aramaic, Mark was written for the common person. Mark uses a lot of slang. Mark uses a lot of colloquialisms that the average person would have understood at the time. He's kind of like a guy's guy, a man's man. Luke, on the other hand, is written in Greek and is written for very educated people. The Gospel of Luke actually has the exact identical literary structure of a Greek tragedy play. Isn't that interesting? Beginning, middle, end. You can kind of set it aside, anything, and it flows much differently because it was written in a different time, in a different place, for different people, for a different reason. Now, does that mean it is not valuable? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it means you can't really say that it is 100% literally true, even when it contradicts. So what's the point I'm making? Because it seems like I've gone on this huge long tangent, but I get there's a method to the madness. The point I'm making is that it's up to you to weigh these things. It's up to you to discover these things. It's up to you to understand and learn how to apply these things. It's up to you to understand where, if anywhere, these things are going to have a place in your life, and if they're going to have a place in your spiritual walk. It's not enough to say, I vote Republican because I'm a Christian. Well, that's problematic for a lot of reasons, right? It's not enough to say I vote Democrat because I'm a Christian. You know, it's not enough to say I'm against, I don't know, legalizing marijuana or gay marriage because I'm a Christian. Well, maybe. If you're saying it conflicts with my own personal values, well then fine. But sometimes you've got to observe where these things came from. Why is it your value? Do you believe what you believe because you believe it? Or do you believe what you believe because it's what you've been taught? And that's not the same thing. And this is why people start to have their crisis of faith, usually in their 20s, sometimes in their 30s, maybe just when life gets tough, because the things that you were told no longer line up with your life experience. They no longer line up with what you're really seeing in the world and feeling and experiencing. And when they stop working, people abandon them. And that's the bad thing, which is why, like I said all the way at the beginning, which is why I work so hard to bring God back into people's life and to show you that there is not only room for a relationship with your creator, but that it's vital. And that when you don't have it, you will never completely feel at ease in this world. Well, that's tough to say because I do think there's some atheists that get along just fine. But unless you have some connection with the infinite, however you perceive it, if you're not rooted and anchored in something, then you're always going to be cast along the waves. The ups and downs of life are going to throw you off, right? The inevitable things that we all endure that are some big, some little. It might be that you get cut off in traffic and it ruins your day. It may be you get diagnosed with cancer and it ruins your day. But some people endure that and much, much more, and they keep smiling all the time because their strength comes from something beyond just themselves. Their strength comes from their internal reservoir of power, from their connection with their maker, from their connection with their creator, from their connection with the author and the architect of all things. Does that make sense? So we're coming in on about the last 20 seconds here because I am going to play us off with something special that I can't believe I made it this far all the way into 4 weeks without playing anything from this person. But I just want to say, you are great and I love you. You're fantastic. We covered a lot today. Thank you for staying with me. I hope it made sense. If it didn't make sense, send me a question. Formspring.me/bdavewalters. Ask me what you don't get and I'll do my best to explain it to you a little better. As always, you can find me. Find me anywhere. Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, all of them. YouTube, all of them are at B. Dave Walters. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. I will see you next week. You are great, and I love you. And here, my friends, is Michael Jackson, not with Man in the Mirror, not Michael Jackson with Billie Jean, not even Michael Jackson with Thriller, Michael Jackson with Jam. And I'm going to go ahead and wind up the live broadcast. So thank you for watching. Like always, you should listen to Michael Jackson Jam so you can end on the note that I intended. Because I'm all over the place, man. I'm laying down biblical history and everything, and then I'm all like, oh, hey, here's Michael Jackson. Okay, so you're fantastic. You're great, and I love you. And I will see you next week. And next week I'm going to shave. I don't even know if you can see. Yeah, I didn't shave. I didn't get a haircut either. It's terrible. But I'll look better next week, I promise. Okay, bye.